Should have known that. Now you guys are here, man. What's going on, guys? How is everybody doing? Thank you guys all for coming up. Before I introduce our first guest, let me say hello to everybody who got here a little bit earlier. So what's up, Johnny, Robert, Nikki, Hip Flipping Mama? What's going on? Thank you for stopping by. We got FI Resellers, Camilla. How are you doing? Maggie, Doodle, Cameron. Thanks for stopping by. And Misha, I believe, all here early. Thank you guys for stopping by. But you guys are not here to see me. I know that. You guys are here to see our first guest. So let me introduce him. He is right.
So I'm ready to list, man. Like, all right, let's list these Brooks. I didn't even look at what they were. I think they're Brooks. I'm ready to list. What the? Oh, it's the self timer. Scared me for a minute. All right, I'm listing this camera, guys. Got this at a garage sale, or not garage sale, flea market for $4. But man, I'm a little late to eating my dinner, but I've been listing all day. Well, I shipped out all my wholesale boxes, and then I've been listing all day today. Oh shoot! No! I just accidentally X'd out of what I was just listing, and I had just was about to click list.
Wow.
Rip. Dude, I'm in the zone right now listing.
You
man.
are, dude. Drew, you look good, dude.
I'm ready to list.
You ready?
Drew,
I was not expecting that.
are you ready to list, Drew? Or
I'm ready to list. I'm always ready to list.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Good. That's one of the things I'm trying to do is have like a custom intro to everybody. So
that's awesome. I
have
love
to
it.
watch a lot of Joey's lives to get all the to get all the good parts.
I love it.
Yes. So in case people don't know who you are, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Sorry if my face is like looking shiny. I don't know if it's my light or what, but anyway.
Well, wait. First, are you okay with going full screen? Because I know the next guest is not. So
sure. I'm good with whatever.
Okay.
So, what's up, guys? My name is Drew. I go by Profit Monsters here on YouTube, and I'm a full-time reseller. I'm also a real estate agent, so I do that full-time as well. And I love reselling. I love the process from start to finish. If you guys know me, if you follow my journey, or if you know Joey Bada-Bing22, we do live listings every Monday, and we just keep each other motivated. And anyway, so yeah, I'm just happy to be here. Happy to talk about reselling, man. So,
you like talk about what? I'm not sure. Right?
I'm not really good at intros when people say like introduce yourself and tell people about you. I'm like, hey, I'm Andrew and I'm a full-time reseller.
I'm the same way. I was in Nurse Flipper's chat this week, just commenting on her chat, and then she messaged me on Facebook, "Hey, you want to come on?" I'm like, not really, but sure. So she sends, she like gives me the link, and I'm like, wow, there's like 400 people here. She goes, introduce yourself, and I'm like, I'm Paul. that was it. That's all I could say.
I'm Drew. I sell stuff, and I make.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm here. I guess I sell things. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
So, Drew, how long ago did you start YouTube, and what was the reason for it?
So I used to have a YouTube channel with a friend of mine. We were doing just like dumb trending challenge videos and stuff. So I always enjoyed making videos and just like, you know, being silly, I guess you could say, but I wasn't good at the editing side. So my buddy Jeremy, who I had the other channel with, he did all the editing, and I came up with like all the ideas and the video concepts. So that's kind of like what started me on YouTube. And then I had a kid and he went back to college. So, you know, things kind of fell apart for us. But I had lost my job as an IT or as a corporate director for an IT company that I had been working at, and things just kind of ended kind of salty, and it was just kind of a bad way of losing a job, I guess you could say. It wasn't really my fault. But anyway, so from there, at the time I had been like messing with like selling Hot Wheels cars and stuff on eBay for fun. And when I lost my job, all of a sudden I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to start going to garage sales and finding stuff to flip. Because I've always been flipping stuff, but it wasn't ever like a real job. It was just like for extra cash for fun or for whatever. So pretty much at that point, when I started going to garage sales, I was like, well, I might as well just start recording myself and documenting my journey. And that's kind of how it happened. I didn't really like at the time watch a lot of other resellers or really know that there was this big reselling community. I just knew that like I wanted to record myself, whatever I was doing. And so since I was going to garage sales at the time, I just figured, hey, let me just, start recording myself. And, then I came to the reselling community on YouTube and Instagram and started meeting people. And it's, just been awesome ever since. So.
Okay. So pretty much it wasn't like, most people say like, okay, I'm going to leave my full-time job and transition to this. You pretty much just had no choice. You were like, it's either this or I find another job somewhere else, right?
Yeah. Well, when I lost my job with the IT company, I pretty much just said the way that I got fired, I guess you could say, the way that they let me go, I was like, I'm never going to work for anybody else ever again in my life after this happened. And I just told my wife, we've owned multiple businesses before. We've owned, brick and mortar building stores. We've owned routes. We've owned lots of different stuff. So I just told her like, hey, listen, I'll figure it out. I'll take care of us. I'll provide for us. And my wife just said, I trust you. And from day one, I just went out and started hustling and just started finding stuff to flip. I had a collection of Super Nintendo games for my own personal collection with my personal Super Nintendo that I've had for years. And I just started using that stuff on eBay to kind of get me started because I had some really expensive and valuable games, and so I used that to kind of help jumpstart me. I started selling my own video game collection. I didn't have a big one, but I had Nintendo 64 and Super Nintendo with a lot of games for both. So I just kind of used that to jumpstart my eBay sales. And sure enough, I didn't know video games were so hot. I mean, before I could even list them, they were selling. So like I listed Earthbound. I had Earthbound, an original authentic copy. And I mean, it sold within 2 minutes of me listing it for $150 at the time.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, I can just keep listing my games.
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah,
Corbin and Amy. What's up, guys?
What was your best one of those that you sold? Like out of the N64 and SNS guys?
Earthbound was definitely the most profitable as far as value. I sold that so fast for $150, but I mean, I had like Mario Party 1, 2, 3 for Nintendo 64.
Those are good.
I had Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, all the Super Mario 64, Super Smash Brothers, like a lot of the, the in my opinion, the popular games that, I've had them for forever, GoldenEye, all those kinds of stuff. I had a lot of the Mega Mans for Super Nintendo. Mega Man Soccer was a big one. I think I sold that at the time for like $80 or $90. And I had,
Did you have boxes as well, or are they all loose?
I'm sorry?
Did you have boxes?
No, I didn't have the boxes. I wish.
That would have been good.
So
yeah, I have a kind of similar story to you why I went to full time, because I worked for like a Fortune 500 company, and it was also like it was like a let go, me quitting kind of separation thing. But I was just treated so terribly that after I left, I was like, yeah, I'm not working for anybody ever again. That's why I started my moving business. Now I'm transitioning to this. So I definitely feel you on that part. It's a lot more, I could probably say probably a lot harder working for yourself, but definitely a lot more gratifying. You have like a purpose working up every single day that that you're working for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot more freedom working for yourself. But for me, it wasn't like intentional. Like I started reselling stuff on the side while I was applying for other jobs because I didn't really even know that reselling was a thing.
Yeah.
So like if you would look at me 2 years ago, go back on my YouTube channel and look at like my first 2 or 3 videos, like I didn't even really know that you could flip used shoes. Like I didn't know that people bought used shoes. I just wore my shoes until they were worn and then I threw them away. Like,
people still don't believe me.
I never even donated them to Goodwill. Like I just thought that they were such trash and, whatever. They've been worn. They have my footprint in them. They're smelly. I don't know. I just threw them away. I was pretty athletic, a couple years ago, more than I am now. But, I used to run a lot and exercise and stuff. And now I don't. My shirt is
except for whatever. Disc golf. You're pretty good at disc golf, I hear, right?
I did horrible today. Oh my gosh. I don't even want.
Is that challenge still open to anybody, or?
I would leave the challenge open to anybody. Sure, yeah. I love to play, but I'm extremely competitive and I'm very hard on myself. Like if I have a bad throw, like you can tell my personality changes. If I, I was playing with two of my good friends, and if there's a hole that's like a par 4 and they hit a 4 and I hit a 5, like I get mad at myself. So
That's good.
Um,
That's not like a terrible flaw. It's a good flaw to have.
yeah. But so that's kind of how I started, and then I just transitioned. Like I started making enough money right off the rip that I was like, well, I mean, none of these companies that I filled out applications for, like I was applying for corporate jobs, not like, Chick-fil-A or something. So, I was applying for, more corporate jobs, business marketing jobs and like, team management jobs and
Yeah.
things like that. And so, but I wasn't hearing back from any of the companies that I applied to. So I just figured like, all right, well, if no one's going to like, and I was following up, I was doing the right stuff. I wasn't just sending in an application and never responding, but it's just at the time jobs were just not, they weren't filling jobs that much. And so I just said, all right, well, I'm just going to keep going to garage sales. And then I learned about thrift stores. Like I knew there were thrift stores out there, but like for me at the time, like my church, our youth group used to do what was called a thrift store formal. So we would have an event every year where you would have to go to a thrift store and get an outfit, and then you'd have to wear it to this event at church. It was like, who could wear the most like, out of the box, like crazy outfit, and some girls would come in like old 70s, 80s prom dresses, like all sorts of crazy stuff. And the men would come in like, green and red suits that were donated and stuff. So, so that's like what my thought of thrift stores was back in the day. It wasn't like, oh, I can go there and find something. I can find video games and make money. So when I started on YouTube and then I started learning about it, and I started finding other resellers who were making content, I was kind of blown away. So,
Jen has a question for you. If they called you now, would you join, or are you going to continue to do what you're doing?
No, heck no. I would never take that job now. Not a chance.
Now, where did real estate come in?
So I've had my real estate license for over 2 years, and when I owned my last brick and mortar business, I owned a scooter and motorcycle shop doing sales. And at the time, I had hired an employee who was doing really good for me. He was essentially like, I would call him a store manager, a general manager. And so I was just talking to some friends and kind of just looking at other things. Like I've always been open to other ways of making money, other ways of income. And a couple of my friends and family said like, hey, you should just get your real estate license. You'd be really good at helping people, because you do customer service, you are in sales, you're good at talking to people, And so I was like, okay, sounds good to me. So I signed up for a class and got my real estate license, took the class in 1 week. I failed the exam one time and then, studied again, passed it. And now I have my real estate license, and I've been doing that ever since as well. So,
and I figured they both pretty much work hand in hand together, because you don't have to be like, even now, like, but you don't have to go to the office, right, to do anything. You can just always work remotely from home, and you work at your own pace. If you want to sell a house this month, you can. If you don't, you can just take it back, right?
Right. So the brokerage that I work for is actually a friend from high school. He owns the brokerage. So there's no, phone call requirements. I don't have to come in and, do phone time or have a certain amount of leads or anything like that. It's just, if you get business, you make money. If you don't get business, you don't make money. So, that works out for me because it motivates me to work harder when I want clients.
Yeah.
And so, I don't focus on real estate like I do reselling because I enjoy reselling the day-to-day operations. Real estate is more of, I like to work one-on-one with clients. I don't just want to go get 5, 6, 7 clients at a time, make a bunch of money, and then not be able to provide for them with, writing up contracts and negotiations. And, it's always with real estate, a lot of people don't understand that you don't get paid until the title, you're at the closing table. And some clients, you show them 20, 30, 40 houses before they even make an offer, so you put in a lot of work sometimes, because, rightfully so, people are picky with the types of property that they want to buy or sell.
Makes sense.
So You know, sometimes you can show someone 10 or 15 houses before they even remotely like one. And you're driving all over town, you're meeting them, you're showing, you know, them properties, and they're like, yeah, I don't like this one, you know. But luckily for me, being a reseller, you know, if someone wants to view a property 45 minutes away from where I live, I just thrift on the way home. You know, I just Google thrift stores near me.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
You know, so I don't just take it as a loss from showing somebody a house. Like I thrift on the way home, find new thrift stores that I've never been to, maybe if it's an area that I don't normally go, or something like that, and I just try to make the best of it.
So in a year, you think how much houses do you like sell or buy?
I probably average anywhere from like 5 to 10 clients a year. I don't like do a whole lot of real estate. So far this year I've had like 3 clients. So 3? Yeah, I think I've had 3 deals this year so far. So, you know, I'm on
even 10 to 15. Average. That's more people make probably as like in a full-time job. Probably like 10 to 15 houses. That's probably more than people make in a full-time.
It depends on the brokerage that you work for and the percentage of the property you're selling, or helping a client purchase. But yeah, I mean, I'd say, you know, you could sell $1 million house and make more money than some people make in an entire year. You know, if you're making you're making 3%, you know, closing a deal on $1 million house, that's 30 grand.
It's pretty good.
So, but you don't get that full 3%. That's another thing that people don't realize is, you know, when you take that, you know, the average is 3%. So the buyer's agent gets 3%, the seller's agent gets 3%, but sometimes it's less depending on what the seller of the house is wanting to offer. But the average is 3%. Then you pay a brokerage fee. So some brokerages, it's a 50-50 split. Some brokerages, it's 30-70, and the brokerage gets 70 and you only get 30. It depends on the brokerage that you work for. But of that 30 grand, if you're on a 50-50 split with your brokerage, that's 15K. So that's a big difference depending on what brokerage you work for. But some brokerages like provide you with leads. They have office. They make you business cards. You know, they have support teams that if you need anything, you know, you can call them. So I don't have any of that with my brokerage, but I have a higher percentage of commission that I make because I do all the work.
Yeah, makes sense.
So what's up, Anfisa?
Came all the way from Alaska. So here's my biggest question to you. I always want to know. How big is your death pile right now?
I always tell people I don't have death piles. Like that's my motto. I have probably about 30 shoes left from my wholesale video of my shoes, and realistically, that's about it. I've got like 4 pairs of jeans that have been photographed on my phone that I need to list, and I may have a few things. I may have a few things here or there, but I did go to like 2 thrift stores yesterday, and I picked up like 5 or 6 things, and I have a couple of those here. You said you wanted to do like a show and tell or something, so I do have a couple items from that, but it's really not that much. If you don't count the wholesale shoes, it's less than 15 items. So, but the wholesale has been like, if you haven't seen that video, a guy on Instagram reached out to me and was like, hey, I got 53 pairs of shoes. I want to stop selling shoes. And that's it, you know, and I made a deal. I purchased them. He shipped them to me, and I listed about, I think 23, like I said, 50, I don't know, somewhere about 15 pairs of those so far, maybe more. So
she has a small death pile.
I'm not disappointed in Anfisa at all.
And Anfisa has a really creative way to source too. She buys from like eBay, then sells back on eBay for what the clothes is supposed to sell for. It's pretty impressive.
Anfisa doesn't disappoint me at all because I see her hustling every day.
Oh, yeah.
It's people who have death piles and are full-time reselling. They have death piles, and then they still go out full days of thrifting, and then they come home and they don't list. And I'm like, what are you doing, man?
We will talk about that with me later in the show. You got to motivate me a little bit. Actually, we can talk about that now, right? What would you do in my situation, right? So I mainly buy storage units, right? That's where I'm mainly sourced from. On the weekends, I still go and do yard sales. My death pile right now, I'm afraid to tell you, I have a 4,000 square foot warehouse right over here. Probably about 500 square feet of it is my death pile, which is like just totes full of inventory that I get from storage units. Should I stop buying storage units until I list everything, or what should I do?
Well, First of all, to answer Cameron's question, no, I don't wear thrifted suits at church unless we have an event, unless we have like a church event or something, like a thrift store formal. But it's hard to say because I've never bought a storage unit that had like a lot of stuff in it. I've had a couple of wholesale buyouts that could be considered like buying a storage unit. But it depends on what your business model is. Like if you are, buying storage units and you're just looking for like a couple diamonds in the rough and you're listing those, and then everything else is, just, hey, if I get an employee or, this or, whatever. I mean, if you're buying a storage unit and there's like blankets in there, I don't expect you to be listing those blankets, but if you're buying storage units and there's thousands or hundreds of good items in there and you just have FOMO, so you go back to the storage auctions and you just keep buying more because you're afraid that if you don't go, that you're going to miss that one locker that has a $200,000 painting in it. That mentality to me is a little jaded in the sense that you're chasing something that may never happen.
Yeah.
So it depends on how disciplined you are too. Like for me, I don't have FOMO. So like, I don't feel like, I can stay home and list 8 hours and not be like, oh, if I don't go to Goodwill, I'm going to miss out a pair of Hokas, or something like that. But I also don't have a 4,000 square foot warehouse to be able to fill. I've got a 30 by 12 shed that is relatively, full right now with inventory. So, my business model is different. So, Mr. Buys a Lot is, he's got employees and he does these huge buyouts where, he can afford to have that kind of inventory laying around. For me, I'm providing for my family. I've got 2 kids. I'm, I guess you could say, a sole provider. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. She's amazing. She raises our kids, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't say that you should stop buying storage lockers. I should just say if you've got a lot of great inventory to list, I would say just be disciplined in that and have a plan. There's so many things I could say about that. If you're constantly, just on YouTube and on social media watching other people when you could be listing, then, maybe you should stop buying storage lockers until you figure that out. Or you should stop watching other YouTubers if it's preventing you from listing your death pile. But I think death piles for most people are healthy as long as they're disciplined. You just don't go buying stuff and then not coming home and listing anything. Yeah.
So pretty much what I do is I list about 25 or 30 items a day, but I probably could up it to 40, 50 if I was more disciplined. I have an employee that works for me that she just does clothes. That's all she does. And she lists about 100 to 200 items a week. So we get a lot of listings done, but just saying, I easily can go buy a 10 by 30 storage unit full of everybody's their whole lifelong belongings and maybe spend $200 on it, So what I do kind of to motivate myself when I go yard sales, so this morning I went to yard selling. I want to list all the stuff that I got from the yard sale by the time the weekend is over. So next week when I go yard selling, it's all inventory that doesn't just go back into my death pile. So I'm trying to minimize that kind of that death pile thing, but the storage units, I don't know how I can tone it down. Right now I have a kind of goal for a set rule saying, okay, if I have to spend more than this much on a storage unit, I'm not spending it that much. So that way it kind of prevents me from buying, I guess, bad units. But I still have probably 5 to 100 to 1,000 items in my death pile right now.
Me personally, I would say for me personally, if that was my business model, I'd say that's unacceptable.
500 to 1,000.
Yeah, I'd say that's unacceptable. I wouldn't allow myself to go buy more storage units until I have it listed. But if you're listing 25 to 30 items a day and you have an employee listing 100 to 2 items a week, I would say that you're very disciplined in what you do. I was talking to another reseller. I don't know if she's comfortable me mentioning her name, but I was on her channel a couple months ago and she showed me her death pile on the live. And she's like, what do I do? And I told her, you pick out 5 items a day and you list them and you slowly hack away at it and you stop going to thrift stores until your death pile is listed. If you have a full-time job, this person had a full-time job and, she had this death pile and she's like, well, I love going to the thrift. I said, well, in my opinion, your 2 options are to either hire an employee to list for you, So you can do the sourcing, which is realistically what 90% of resellers want to do. Is they want to do the sourcing, the treasure hunting, but they don't want to put in the actual work. Hope I'm not stepping on people's toes, but I feel like it's the truth, and not a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
Like me, if I wasn't on your live, but I was listening to it, I would be sitting at my desk right here listing while I'm watching your live, whoever you're interviewing. I wouldn't just be, sitting around, unless I was like outsourcing and then I was playing it in my headphones or something, so I hope I'm not like knocking anybody on,
I feel like it's more motivating than knocking. So I feel like you're good.
But yeah, so I'm the same way as you though. Like I'll go to garage sales and flea markets on the weekends. That's my big thing. And then I don't really go do a lot of sourcing during the week unless I get all that stuff listed, but sometimes I'll go and I'll get 30, 40 pair of shoes. I'll get electronics. I'll get hard goods. I'll get, some clothing items, whatever. And so, I try to be very disciplined in listing my stuff and I don't go out unless, for example, I take my son to school in the morning. There's a Goodwill on the same street on my way home. So I'll pop into Goodwill. I have my route. I walk through the clothing. Then I look at the shoes. Then I go to the hard goods. Then I go to the women's shoes. And then I walk out, and that's it, because the Goodwill right next to my house is complete trash. If you follow me on Instagram, I mean, they've got Nike trainers behind the desk in the glass case for $49.99. Like it's a joke, it's a joke. So, that Nikki it's the exact same thing as me. Like that's how I live my life. Is I love the process. And that's one thing that I really try to push on my YouTube channel. And when I'm in the podcast with Joey and Josh, Harry Tornado is, I love the process from start to finish. I think sourcing is fun, but making money is what it's about for me. So exactly. If I could hire somebody to do the sourcing for me and they can get me quality items, I'll stay home and list all day. Whatever makes me the most money, whatever's the most profitable for me. Like if I can find somebody that will go out and do that for me, like I know there are people that say like, I would love to get paid to thrift, but realistically, those people don't want to get paid to thrift because I'm going to pay $10, $12 an hour, and I'm going to base your pay off of the kind of stuff that you're bringing me, and so I would much rather be listing knowing that that's how I'm going to make the sales. You can source all you want, but you're not going to make any money if you're not listing it.
Exactly.
So
sales is better.
It's all about discipline. It's all about discipline. And everybody's business model is different based on where they source, how they source. Like Dante goes to a lot of bin stores and he gets a lot of, smaller, easy to list items. I would say, like for me, listing a pair of shoes, you got to put out 7 or 8 pictures. Dante buys a bottle of, vitamins or something. You only need 2 or 3 pictures of it and you scan the barcode. You don't have to put in details about flaws. You don't have to point out stains. You don't have to put out measurements of clothing. So everybody's business model is different. Video games are very easy to list. You say tested and working and you put front and back picture. So, you could list probably 10 video games in the time I could list
1 pair of shoes,
2 or 3 pair of shoes.
Yeah.
But shoes are my bread and butter, cause I can source them very easily where I live, from flea markets and places like that. So you got to do what works for you.
What do you think about this question? He says he doesn't thrift stores, but would you consider getting friendly with Goodwill employees so they can call you when someone drops a good donation off?
In my area, they won't do that. People in my area, they're basically like trained robots. Like they don't talk to anybody. I don't know how to describe it. Like I had one time I went into my Goodwill and I found a GameCube controller and I was like, it's the first time I've ever found anything video game in this store since I've been a reseller. So I went up to one of the employees and I was like, is there more GameCube stuff in the back? Like, is there a whole system that goes with this? And he's like, I'm not allowed to tell you, but all I can say is that we put a lot of stuff on shopgoodwill.com.
Okay.
So, they're basically telling me that they put most of the stuff on shopgoodwill.com as far as like what they consider good stuff. Yeah. So you won't see like blanket line Carhartt jackets or, rare Patagonia colored jackets at my thrift store. Cause in my area, they hire people that know brands and stuff to put on shopgoodwill.com and they take the pictures and they list it right in the back. It's crazy. So, it's really interesting. Not all thrift stores are like that, but, I've made connections with one manager at one Goodwill but it's far away from me. But they know that I go in there and I sweep out their shoes. So the last time I went, shoes were like $12.99 each, which is more than I usually like to pay, but they were good brands, On Cloud, Hoka, whatever, Nike Shox. And it was like, I went up to the register and he's like, I'm gonna give you this pair for $1. I was like, okay,
Wow.
cool. He didn't do it for all the shoes, but he knows that I'm buying a lot of them. So
Yeah.
he gives me the hookup on a couple pairs because he knows I'll clean them out so they can restock their shelves. But a lot of Goodwills in my area, they just think that, that they're untouchable. I don't know how to describe it.
It makes sense. Yeah.
It's either the employees who hate their life and work there because they needed a job, or it's people who think they're working at Trump Tower or something. And it's like, I'm the best at working for Goodwill. And I can tell you, that you're never going to see video games in my store. I'm like, oh, sorry. We look down upon you flippers, but I would think that Goodwill would be happy with people buying stuff from their store.
You would think, right?
and I paid up for stuff at Goodwill, which I hate doing, but I'm willing to do it if the profit is there. I bought a GameCube for it wasn't at a Goodwill, but it was at a thrift store. I paid $75 for it, but it had Mario Kart Double Dash, it had Super Smash Brothers, 3 original controllers, and the console.
That makes sense.
I sold the 2 games separately and then sold the console with 1 controller and then sold the other 2 controllers and made 4 listings out of it and made over $250. And it all sold within like 2 days. So like, if stuff is going to sell, you can pay up for it. But
if I was in that bundle on Facebook, I would definitely would have went and grabbed it. If it was
that bundle would have been hit up by 18 people on Facebook Marketplace within the first 8 seconds.
All right. Here's a personal question for you.
Okay.
Who's a better freestyle rapper, you or Joey?
Probably Joey. I'm probably about as white as they come.
I feel like you are better than you think, though, man. If I'm gonna be honest, I feel like you're better than you think.
I feel like if I'm like in the groove and I'm in the zone, I can probably hit off a little bit. But my guilty pleasure is watching wild style battles from Wild.
With the Nick Cannon shows?
Yeah, the Nick Cannon shows. Like, it's a lot of it's inappropriate, which I hate because, it's just, in my opinion, it's just a lot of inappropriate, like, sex jokes and stuff, which is just, it's too foul for the most part for me. But it's kind of like my guilty pleasure when, just the beat and them roasting each other. Like, I just think roasting is so much fun. I love roasting people.
Did a good job on Katie Reed's the other day. All right, so what we have here, Drew, I stole this idea from Hot Ones. Is I picked 2 Instagram photos from your Instagram. I'm going to show them, and you just give me a little more details about them, okay?
Hopefully they're not too old.
They're not bad. Here's the first one.
Okay, this is a good one, actually.
Do you still have that car?
I do, yeah. Yep.
Is it run and drive?
So 100%, yeah. It's a 1996 Corvette Z4, and actually it was my grandfather's, and I inherited it when he passed away. So he was always a Corvette driver. He's had them ever since I was a baby. He lived in Connecticut, and I'm in Florida, so we would always, visit him. Like, I would get to go like once every 3 summers and visit them. And it was like one of the special things that we would do is he would take, me and my brother each for our own ride in the Corvette. And it was just really special. And this was the last one he had before he passed away. He died of cancer a couple years ago. And one day my grandmother, my Grammy, she called me and she basically told me she didn't know what she was going to do with the Corvette. It hadn't been run in a really long time. And she basically told me she wanted me to have it, and I offered to buy it from her, and she said no. So I flew up to Connecticut, spent some time with my grandmother, and then drove it home from Connecticut to Florida.
Oh, wow. You drove all the way back. That's
dope. It's like almost mint. I mean, I'm talking my grandfather would wash and wax that car like nothing. And it's only got like 30,000 original miles on it or something like that. I'll never sell it. I'll never let it go. So
you're gonna give it to your kids and grandkids for sure. It's gonna be like a family heirloom, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And then the jacket that I'm wearing is a friend on Instagram. His name is Brady. He lives in Canada, actually, and he found it thrifting one day. If you scroll over, you should be able to see the other pictures.
It's a screenshot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So,
but you guys can go on his Instagram and see it. Yeah, because I remember there's like one of you like in the back doing like this.
Yeah. So there's two hats, and then the satin jacket. I bought from other resellers on Instagram just to match, and it's just really cool. Red leather interior. Yeah. So yeah, it's a huge blessing to have, and I don't really post a lot about it. If you read the post on Instagram, like I don't show it off, I don't boast about it because I didn't earn it. It was given to me, so I don't ever use it for thrifting. There's no trunk at all. It's just a 2-seater convertible car. So
like, how many miles does it get like a year, do you think?
I take it out like once or twice a month. Sometimes if I'm showing real estate clients properties, I'll take it out, and drive it that way. But I like to thrift on the way home. So, but yeah, I take it out about once or twice a month, let it run and, really, take it for a nice long ride. But we've got 2 kids too. So it's not like my wife and I can just hop in the car and, drive away.
All right. So thank you. Now this one, what's this all about?
So, I don't even remember where I got this. I'm trying to remember. I think I've got this at the bins. I was going to the bins pretty heavily when I found out about it. Like, I think 6 to 8 months after I became a full-time reseller, I found out about the bins, and I started going like 4 or 5 times a week, and I was getting cartfuls of stuff. And I found this at the bins. At the time, I really wasn't a great clothing seller. I was just buying stuff that I didn't even know about how to look up comps and look up sell-through rate. So I found a couple of these like costumes, and I figured, they would sell good for, Halloween or whatever. And it was a little too small for me. I feel
like it fits you up, man.
I like to have fun. If you know me in person, like my wife, like I make SpongeBob jokes and references. I make Drake and Josh references. Like, it's just my personality is just to, be goofy. I never want to like lose that and, never want to take life too seriously. So I found this at the bins. It was a little tight and, I put it on to show my wife. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to post a picture on Instagram, and
there you go.
That's pretty much all there is to it. And then
there's also multiple of these guys. If you go on his gram, you can scroll and find other angles as well.
So Tommy and Tracy went and dug on my Instagram before they had me on their live a couple months ago, and they used this as the thumbnail for me on their live.
Oh, really?
So then I had to wear it. I wore it for the live. I wore it for the live, and then everybody's like, after that, people want to see me in the Pikachu costume. So
do you still have it or no?
I do. Yep, I still have it.
Wow. So I was going to ask if you sold it or not. I feel like you sell everything.
I actually never listed it. So,
okay. Thanks for explaining those. Those are the ones I had the most questions about. I feel like I have an echo. Do you hear an echo?
Nope. Sounds clear to me.
Hopefully, it's just me. What is the best way? Because I know you pretty much as the shoe guy. A lot of times you get the shoes; they're not the cleanest in the world. How would you, for someone like me who doesn't know how to clean shoes, great. What kind of tips would you give me?
I mean, the easiest thing is to start by going to the Dollar Tree, and I have an entire video on how to clean. It's actually one of my best performing videos on my channel, how to clean white Nike Huaraches using only items from the Dollar Tree. And they're dirty as all heck, and they're super crispy at the end. But it's a longer video. But start at the Dollar Tree and basically magic eraser. I have like a pair of shoes right here. So like I get these Dollar Tree magic erasers is kind of how I started. And sometimes they come in a pack of 3. You can get the 3-pack for $1. Now a lot of people you can get them on Amazon a lot cheaper if you buy them in bulk. Like you can get 100 of these for, I don't know, like $50 or $60 or something like that. But excuse me, usually it depends on the type of shoe, but usually the lowers and the swoosh will come out with a little bit of water and the magic eraser really good. And then I keep a towel on my lap. I just scrub with the magic eraser and then I wipe it off with a towel. And it depends on how dirty the bottoms are. You can get one of those little like scrubby brushes and scrub the bottom. I usually do that in my
That's how you do the
bathtub.
bottoms. Okay.
Yeah, I usually do that in my bathtub, with some hot water, and then I'll just scrub it. Or Dawn dish soap. You can get dish soap at the Dollar Tree, or OxyClean. I use the OxyClean from the Dollar Tree as well. And I'll put in a nice, tub of OxyClean, and then I'll let the shoes soak. Now my sourcing is a lot stricter with shoes. Like, I don't buy shoes that take me more than like 60 seconds to clean. So,
Makes sense.
unless I get them at the bins, but I don't even really go to the bins anymore. So because I'm listing all the time, it's just not worth my time to buy dirty shoes unless it's Hoka's, On Clouds, something that I know I can sell for $80, $70 plus. So
you don't put them in the washing machine at all? It's all by hand? All by you?
I do it all by hand, yeah.
Interesting. I usually save a bunch and just put them in the washing machine and then hope for the best. But I've had a couple of like pretty high-end shoes that got ruined because I didn't realize there was a tissue at the bottom of them in the washing machine, and then the tissue went everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Now we come to the little show and tell part. You wanna share what you got? I'll share my first since
okay.
So these I got today, but I pretty much thought you would enjoy them. So I picked this guy up pretty much $2 in a bundle.
Wow.
Was that a good buy?
I mean, does it have the kick pedal?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's a steal. If you watch my video I put out yesterday, I just sold that same drum set with the original box and a guitar for $260 plus shipping.
Yeah, so they wanted 15 on it, but I bundled it with a bunch of different items, and I got everything for $30. So pretty much got $2 in that one. And then I got in this one place I got like 38 vintage T-shirts and hats, and I spent $50 total.
Wow!
So I figured you were here. I'll show you a Disney hat.
Oh, nice! Very cool.
And I don't know if that's vintage.
Oh, Animal Kingdom. Very cool. Yeah.
There you go.
Was there anything on the back of that one?
No, it's just plain.
Oh, okay. All right,
it's like embroidered and it's like looks like it's like real grass kind of thing. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
They don't make shirts like that anymore.
Right. David said he picked up some Clifton 6s today. I'll tell you, Clifton or Hoka's will sell with damaged bottoms. I made a post about that a few months ago. I sold a pair of Clifton 6s that I found at the bins, and they were can't think of the word. They were trashed on the bottom, and I still sold them for $55 plus shipping and got positive feedback. So, all right. So I didn't actually do any sourcing today, which is very odd for me, but it's because I had an event at my church that I was participating in, I guess you could say, and that was from like 8 a.m. till about 1 p.m. So I didn't get to go to the flea market today, but I did pick up a couple things from Goodwill yesterday, so I can show those. This one is pretty good. I got this.
It's a squishy.
Squishmallow or whatever. Yep. Squishmallow.
Yep.
New with the tags. So this thing is clean.
That's that frog too, right?
The one with the hearts, I guess, sells for like $180. So mine's not the one with the hearts, but it's clean. It's new with tags, and I paid $8 for it, and it should sell for about $50.
Wow.
I had somebody on Instagram. Somebody on Instagram reached out to me and said,
Chris is excited.
Oh yeah, I know. Chris already DM'd me. But I know that, or someone on Instagram DM'd me and said that their daughter has been dealing with some, personal issues, I guess, going through some really hard stuff. And one of the things she's wanted was that exact squishmallow or whatever. And she was like, how much do you want for it? And so I basically just told her, pay me for the cost and the shipping if it'll, help, help your daughter. So I'm basically selling it to her for what I paid for it. I really do believe in giving back to the community and stuff like that. So, this individual said that her daughter was having, she was depressed and dealing with cutting and stuff like that, cutting herself. And, so, something as serious as that, I would never, charge somebody hopefully she's telling the truth. I don't know why anybody would lie about something as serious as that, but
yeah.
She was like, how much do you want for it? And I just said, you can have it. Just pay me for what I paid for it, plus the shipping. And so, that's right. But yeah, so, I'm happy to send that to somebody who's, happy to send that to somebody who's going to be able to, turn it into a positive, I guess you could say. So, the next item was this boombox, this vintage General Electric boombox. I love picking up stuff like this, and I have not tested it yet, but I paid $10 for it. And if you look up the model, the comps are showing anywhere from like 50 to 100. So it was overall really clean and good shape. And there's actually a tape inside. It's a General Electric reusable tape cartridge. So I don't know. I guess that came with it from.
Does that sell or no?
I don't know. Actually, I didn't look up the tape, but I figure if I mod it with this, it'll make it look better. It's like selling a DVD VHS combo unit and then adding like blank VHSs with it. Yep. It raises the value because it's just less work that someone else has to do. So that was a pretty good find. And then this, I've never actually found one of these before. This is a Carhartt Pearl Snap work shirt. And I've never found a Pearl Snap one before, but I love picking these up. Carhartt, I mean, is a major bolo if you don't know the brand. The jackets are huge. And it's got the logo on the pocket here, you know, a little Carhartt. So I think I paid $6 for it, $4 for this. And
that's a Goodwill?
Yeah, a Goodwill, $4.19. So
they must have mismarked that one.
Yeah, normally they're $5.99. So this was a great pickup. I should probably be able to pull like somewhere between $30 and $45 for that one. So the three totally different items. I picked up an Onkyo CD stereo player too with the remote. I put it on my Instagram story yesterday. I paid $10 for that. It's still in my car though. The remote alone sells for $25-$30, and then the stereo system sells for about $100 plus shipping. So, and I paid $10 for that. So
guys, see, even if your Goodwill is outrageous, you can still find some good deals.
So yeah, so the Carhartt and the Squishmallow were found at Goodwill yesterday, and then the Boombox and the Onkyo, I don't know how to say that. Those two units or electronic items were found at like a church Catholic thrift store behind the Goodwill. There's like a little, what is it called? Like St. Vincent type thrift store. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they're usually way overpriced. But I found those two things. So
now, what would you like if somebody wants to sell right now? Would you recommend they go to Goodwills, thrift stores, flea markets, yard sales, or Facebook Marketplace? If they could only focus like on two, which two would you pick?
I would say your closet. I would say everybody that wants to be a reseller probably has 20 items in their house that they could sell for profit. Every single person, you know, nobody has to start with absolutely, you know, going to thrift stores. It depends on where you live, man. It's such an open-ended question to me. And I really like to think about this kind of stuff when I answer, because like in my area, you know, Goodwills are just ridiculous for the most part. You know, it's $49.99 for a pair of Nike trainers, you know. Yeah. But then you could go in and, you know, one thrift store in my area could have a Revere Wear, you know, pot for $3.99, and then the next thrift store has the same pot for $14.99. Wow. So, you know, it's just so inconsistent where I live, and I'm in Central Florida, Orlando, you know, but like Kayla, the homeschool picker, you know, Corbin and Amy, Cheap Finds Gold Mines, like they're in Kentucky. And yes. I mean, you can't even find video games in Orlando. So, you know,
they're giving them away in Kentucky.
Yeah. You know, and so, you know, but flea markets for me in Orlando do really well, whereas some people don't even have flea markets because of the weather. You know, it's cold, you know, 99, you know, not 99% of the time, but you get what I'm saying? Like in winter, there's 6-7 months that they can't even have flea markets. I have flea markets year round and garage sales. Garage sales are probably, if I had to say nationwide, probably the best place to start, because you can normally find the cheapest stuff at garage sales. If not garage sales, then I'd say go to the bins. Find a Goodwill outlet or a Amazon return store at any where you live. Those two places are going to be, you know, by the pound most of the time. And you can, you know, clothing is probably the easiest thing to start selling just because it's abundant. But it's not exactly everybody's cup of tea.
It's very long tail too. People to understand.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You got time for another game?
Sure. Yeah, I'm down. I'm good.
All right. Let me try to pull it up. So, I pretty much know you as a Guitar Hero expert and a shoe expert. Okay. So I'm going to show you pictures of 5 guitars.
Okay.
And 5 shoes. You got to tell me what they are and what they sell for.
Oh boy. Okay.
So that one, what is that one?
All right. So that's that model can be used for multiple different systems. That's the Sunburst Gibson, I believe, and it's
Yes.
normally for PS2, PS3, but they also make it for the Xbox 360.
This is a PS3 one.
So the
okay.
PS2, PS3 one requires the dongle, so it will sell for less since you don't have. Since you don't
It
have
has the
in the
dongle.
picture.
Okay.
Since you don't have the dongle in the picture, it's probably about a $35 to $40 guitar.
Okay. Pretty accurate. About this one.
I'm pretty sure that's a third-party Cyclone brand, but it might not be. There's a Cyclone model that looks identical to it. If it's not the Cyclone one, then I think might be one of the Metallica guitars. I've never found that one before, but I've seen it posted, and I've seen other people share that they found it, but I actually don't know which one that one is.
Yeah, that's the 360 Warriors of Rock.
Yeah, Warriors of Rock.
I
Okay.
don't know what that means, but apparently it sells for like 120 plus. So
yeah, Warriors of Rock
That's
is
the one.
Guitar Hero 3, so that was made specifically for Guitar Hero 3.
what about this one?
That's a typical Fender. If it's the wireless model, so that model is basically you can get it for almost all systems. I just sold that exact same model for the Xbox 360 yesterday, wireless for $50.
Whoa.
But if it's the one for Nintendo Wii, then it requires a dongle. It's probably more like a $30 guitar.
All right. What about this one?
That's not a Guitar Hero guitar.
You don't know anything about guitars? I thought they just knew everything about guitars.
That's an acoustic guitar that you see in every pawn shop in America for $69.99.
Pretty close. Sold on eBay for 75. So pretty close. What about this one?
That's a Wii guitar. I sell that one all day for $40. So with the strap.
Okay. Now that's 5 guitars. Now shoes.
Okay. Those are Brooks. I believe those are the Glycerins.
Yep.
By looking at them, and I can kind of see the tag a little bit on the tongue, but yeah, Brooks Glycerin. That's a great bolo. It's probably if that's a 17 on there. Glycerin's already in the 20s, early to mid 20s. So I'd say it's probably a $35 to $40 shoe.
What size are these though? Can you tell?
I'd say probably an 8. Probably an 8.
All right. What about these guys?
Hokas are great. Those are the Rincons.
Mm-hmm. This is very impressive, by the way.
I just sold a pair of Rincons. Actually, in my video that I shared yesterday, I just sold a pair of used Rincons without the insoles for $50.
Without the insoles.
Without the insoles for
Wow.
$50. So
Okay.
those with that colorway and that condition, if they have good tread, it's probably more like a $70 to $80 shoe.
Okay.
Doc Martens. Yeah, those are great. Those are the obviously the non-lace ones, like the slip-on boots. But
Yeah.
I mean, anything Doc Marten you should always pick up, especially even if they're worn. I mean, people buy them. It's really trending on Depop, like the streetwear type of stuff. You know, all the Depop girls love wearing Doc Martens. And they have the airwear tags on them, so that's great. Those are probably easily $40, $50. Mizuno Wave Prophecies, that's a great shoe.
Yeah, I heard this on your Listen Live with Joey. This is what I heard about these guys.
The Wave Prophecy is probably one of the greatest slept on bolos, in my opinion, in the shoe department. I found 2 of those recently, Wave Prophecy 7 and a Wave Prophecy 8, and they both sold for $100 plus shipping on eBay within a week.
Wow.
That model, I don't know why. It's like the Clifton 6 for Hoka. It's just a great running shoe, and people that have ran in that shoe are very devoted to them.
Now, is this actually like clear?
Yes, it goes through.
Wow.
I actually have a pair, but I think they're in my shed. So I found some at the flea market 2 weeks ago but it was a Wave Prophecy 5, but I have them listed for $80.
All right. What about this?
That is a horseshoe. Those are very rare. It's a great thrift find.
This one actually was called a lucky horseshoe, and it sold for $9 per shipping. So
that's awesome.
And then we got one more. What about these?
those are Drew's apparently fake Gucci loafers. So Anfisa was actually one of the people that told me I should run an auction on them, but I don't think she knew that they were fake or not authentic, I guess. But they were in my wholesale box from 2 videos ago. They were in that box, and they had major damage on the inside. They were all ripped and nasty. And I just put on my Instagram what I should do with them, and a couple people told me to run an auction on them, so I did. I started at $19.99, and within the first 2 days, I had bids up to like $24. But someone messaged me on eBay with like this long thing saying they're not authentic, they're 100% fake, this, and this. So I shared it on my Instagram, and
I heard you got some heated responses. I heard that in your story.
I did, yeah. I had a couple people coming at me like, sorry, bro, but these are fake. I'm like, my bad. That's exactly why I posted this poll.
Yeah, that's why he's asking, because he wants to know.
So, but I took down the auction because I don't want to get veroed by eBay or have my account suspended for selling, fake, non-authentic shoes. So, and it's just one loss from that lot.
Ever sold any catapult shoes?
I have not.
I don't even know what that is. Okay, so before Katie comes on here, a couple more questions for you. How did you grow from your first sub to where you are now? Did you get any like shout outs along the way? Any collabs that helped you? Any interviews that you saw like spikes in your growth?
I mean, when I made the video with Joey going up to meet Harry Tornado when we surprised him and he didn't know about it, that video gave me about 1,000 subs from that. And then when I did the video with Rally Roots, but at the time that I did that with Josh, I think I had 4,000 or 5,000 subs already, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So like I had already grown, but when I first started, I was just really focused on being active in the community. I never super chatted people, like I never bought anybody's courses for shout outs or anything like that. Nobody shouted me out in the beginning, but I was, Cajun Resellers and OG, like he would know, like I was very active with like Martin and Christina from Thrift Store Gold. And, just some of like the, smaller channels that were similar to mine, my friend Jeff from Flip and Profit. And I'm trying to think of like some of the smaller channels that I like kind of just engaged with at the time before I hit like 1,000 subscribers, but I honestly can't even remember. But I just remembered, staying close to people that had similar subs to me to try to grow because we were similar in content, thrifting, the bins, stuff like that. But I made a video. Well, I sent Paul Cantu a bunch of Tasmanian Devil stuff that I found because that's one thing that he really likes. And I got a shout out, but I didn't gain any subscribers from it. As far as like, what did I do to grow my YouTube channel to where it is now? I mean, I wouldn't even consider my YouTube channels that great. Because my goal was to hit 10K subs by the end of last year, and I still haven't gotten that now. So, but it's just my personal goal. Like I said, I'm really hard on myself. Like I said earlier in the live, but
yeah,
I'm trying to think of. I really don't remember getting shouted out by anybody specific that like grew my channel. It was just consistently putting out content, being engaged in the reselling community. Dominic, the Primetime Treasure Hunter. Dominic, Primetime Treasure Hunter, gave me a shout out a couple times because I made a video when my eBay account got suspended. And that video did really good for a Vero because I used Velcro in one of my title listings.
Mm-hmm.
And so that video did really good. It went to like 10,000 views within like the first month or so. And for me, that was really good. I think I only had like 1,500, 2,000 subs at the time I made it. So that video performed really well. That helped me. And then I made a video where I went to the bins and I basically got kicked out for recording. And so that video has performed really well too because of the thumbnail, the title, getting kicked out of the bins, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So pretty much you're saying, guys, go get kicked out of the bins and then your channel grows.
No, I mean, my channel didn't go viral or nothing, but I mean, I did gain some subs from it from people who liked content from the bins. I just started doing bins haul videos after that. And those were like my best performing videos if you go back and watch from that point in time in my content. So pretty much just because it's just a grind, man. It's a grind. You just got to keep putting out content. I respond to every comment as much as I can, even to this day. Everybody that leaves a comment on my channel, I try to say something, productive and say thank you for watching. I put out like a video this morning and I haven't gotten to all the comments yet, but I'll do that tonight before I go to bed. But
yeah, because like a lot of people think like, oh, I'm just gonna provide good content and I'm just gonna get one lucky shout out and then I'm there. And it's a lot. It's just more about consistency, I figure, and putting out quality content. Because I figure if your content isn't good, even if you get that shout out, people who come and see you will probably not stay. So like that's what I
those viral videos don't really do anything. Like if you look at the Rally Roots video, for example, and I'll try to keep it short because I know you got to bring Katey on. If you watch the Rally Roots video, I made it a series, and there was like 3 or 4 videos I did where I went to Rally Roots, then I went back to their warehouse to get the rest. Then I made a video showing the wholesale boxes that I made. And then I made a video following up kind of about how much money I made from it. And you can see the dramatic decrease from the very first one when Ryan put out his video on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday. He said he was going to release it on Thursday. He put it out a day early. So then I had to bust my butt to get my first video out to keep that viewership, coincide with his. So I put mine out on Thursday, and then that video did really well. And then the second video did less. And then the third video did less. And the fourth video did less. And, it was nice to get that jump right away. But then after that, it just, slowed down. And, I've had a couple people from Harry Tornado constantly come over because he shouts out me and Joey in the Triple Threat podcast and stuff like that. So that's always nice. But I don't really ever expect shout outs from people to grow my channel. I just expect my authenticity, for what people to grow my channel. So
that's pretty much what I'm trying to drive home. Because a lot of people think, oh, once I get discovered, that's what I'm gonna do. No, like I figure it's people understand how big the grind is, even like for you to get to that point, right?
I got to a point probably about a year after I started putting out YouTube content that I realized the chances of getting a random viral video are so unlikely that I'm not going to make my content based on trying to get a viral video. Like if you try to be like Bearded Picker, where he got that one Monopoly RA video to like 3 million views. Justin RVA Flips had a video where he found Funko Pops at a garage sale and it got 1 million something views. I don't know. You guys know all the ones that are real. It's just a grind. It's just a hustle. It's just consistent content. Be you. Don't try to make content for virality because those people won't stay. You get a million view, you get a million view video, and you get like, maybe 1,000 subscribers from it. Yep. It just doesn't. It doesn't. Like go into the same pot. I can't think of the right word to say because I'm trying to stop talking. So
speaking of good quality content, here's our next guest. And Drew, I want you to watch the intro video since you like yours so much.
Okay.
Here's Katey's.
You had to do.
So yeah, I'm gonna look up comps right now on this one and see what this one is selling for. But first, this one just smells old.
Listen, mija, I don't need you to tell me how to source books, okay? I did not know you were going to throw that in. Oh, come on now.
That was awesome.
That was probably not.
I have any merch. This is the first shirt that I ever bought from Drew.
Oh, look at that. I
don't even remember where I found that. I think I found it at the bins, and I was like, "Hey, do you want this?"
And you messaged me, and you're like, "Hey, do you want this?" I was like, "Yeah." That was a good one. That was a good one, Paul. That was a good
Drew,
one.
Drew, appreciate you all for coming.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Hope I was able to add some value to your viewers here.
Always spitting facts, man.
Facts for days. Make sure you guys go follow Drew, sub to Drew. If you guys are not, the link's down below. Awesome guy.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
See you, Katey. Love you so much.
Bye.
All right, here we go.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Katey.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How was your day?
My day was great. I went to two really good estate sales today. Like they were better than normal in my area. There was a lot of stuff, a lot of vintage stuff.
Look, you're already getting subs even before you said anything. Look at that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so I promised there's gonna be no Katie full screen. So this is me, Katie. Katie's asking the whole time. You want to people who you are, what you do, what your channel's about, all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. My name's Katie. You can find me on Katie Reads on all social media platforms. I sell primarily used books on eBay, Amazon, Mercari, but I will flip anything. Like I am gravitating more towards vintage stuff. That's kind of becoming my thing lately. But so I flip books, I write books, I do editing and proofreading freelance. I do still have a 9 to 5, and I love reading. So my channel is pretty much reading, writing, and reselling used books. I primarily talk about eBay. I don't talk about Amazon a whole lot on my channel because there's tons of Amazon content out there. I feel like there's not enough content about eBay because there are some people that just aren't interested in Amazon for whatever reason. So I try to give some value with that as far as eBay, and I'm starting to dabble a little bit with cross-listing of Mercari, so I'll be talking about that probably a little bit more too.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming in.
So when did you start YouTube, and what was the reasoning for it? Why did you start your channel? So
I started YouTube. My first video was January 31st. Dom, back in
of this year.
Of this year. Okay. Yeah, of this year. October of 2020, Dom, the primetime treasure hunter, reached out to me. Him and I have talked back and forth through Instagram and stuff like that because he's a big comic book person. So we would like kind of just exchange, appreciation for books and stuff like that and reselling. And he asked me to come on his channel, and it just was an awesome, awesome live experience. That was my first YouTube live. I was so nervous. Like I almost threw up. Like I was so nervous. I had no idea what to expect. Had never used StreamYard before. And then after Dom really, really encouraged me to get a channel, really, really pushed me. And I just said, I don't know. Like, I just felt like no one would want to hear me. I felt like I was kind of going through that imposter syndrome. Like, I've only been hardcore reselling for 2 years. I don't make, $40,000 a month. Nobody's going to listen to me, like that type of thing. Yeah. But a lot of people just kept encouraging me. And then Derek and Regina, Fundamentals of Side Hustling, I went on their channel, and that was in November. And Derek, that was a lot of fun. And Derek was just like, you really need to have a channel. Like, you're really good at this. You need to, just get comfortable in front of the camera and just do it. So my youngest sister is actually in video editing. She went to school for it a little bit, and she has a lot of knowledge with that. So I pretty much just make the content. She puts it all together. I review a final draft, and then it gets published. So it's flowing pretty well right now. We'll see how it goes as I decide to. This year is just for fun. Next year, I'm probably going to be more aggressive with my YouTube and, watch hours, tags, all that fancy stuff. So right now I'm just getting my feet wet and just trying to, help somebody that puts in the search bar how to sell used books on eBay. That's pretty much it.
I'm a little jealous you have an editor already.
Yeah. Yeah. My family's got talent. I'm really, really blessed. All my sisters helped me out with that, everything. My other sister did all my logo and branding. So she did awesome.
Yeah. Let me know how much the editor wants to get paid.
I will. I'll let you know.
She could be like a VA on the side. I'll send her all my stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, James is puff passing already in the chat.
Yeah, he's been here for 2 seconds. He's already puff passing. This guy.
He would still be in Mexico.
Well, he lives there now, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. All right, awesome. Good for you, man.
All right, so with a channel like Katie Reads, how many books do you think you have read in your lifetime, if you were to guess?
I have no idea, because as far as like leisure, Ever, like, are we talking about ever since? Yeah, so lifetime, ever since I was a kid. Thousands. It has to be, because between being like a kid and reading all the books I liked as a kid, and like between leisure and then all the stuff that you have to read for high school and college, that's a lot. That's a lot of books. It's got to be thousands. It has to be.
So is this comment true? Did you make Justin have a YouTube channel?
Yes. So when I first met, I think I met Justin through Dom, probably Dom's Facebook group. We connected on Instagram, and we just, I don't know, he was from Michigan. Yeah, he's from Michigan, and that's what kind of got us talking more often. And then Justin didn't even have like a profile picture of his face. Like, he wasn't even showing his face back then when I first met Justin. And I said, dude, you need to get on YouTube. You have so much value to give, like between being an accountant and all the deals you get and all the finds. And he has one of those Amazon accounts that has very limited restriction. I was like, so you could totally, give just a lot of good value to people on different things that they could flip, and even higher level Amazon sellers that don't have as much restriction as like maybe a new seller. So I kept pushing him. And then he finally like put a picture of his face out there. And then he finally made the YouTube channel. And I was like, oh boy, Justin. So yeah, he did awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of people who don't want to show their face, Mr. Chris over here, he says the movie's better than the book. Changed my mind.
So I will change your mind, Chris, because a movie, this is my opinion, a book has so much more detail than what a movie can do. And the movie is based on the interpretation of someone else. So the movie, like, that
is a very good point.
But I could maybe see that character in a totally different view. I could see that situation, that dialogue, that scene in a totally different way. I could picture the world that the author was, describing a totally different way. So sometimes, the movie's really awesome, but the book is so, you can just go so much farther. The book allows it to have a lot less restriction than a movie does.
So you're just saying, like, Chris lacks imagination. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes. Well, Chris makes fun of my slow driving, so I gotta make fun of his imagination.
I remember, I had a conversation with like a book nerd about Twilight once, and I was like, "What was better, the book or the movie?" And she goes, "Edward was so much prettier in the book," and I was just like, "Huh?"
Really? That's the one series that I just didn't get into. That and 50 Shades, it's just not.
I just don't understand how he could be prettier in the book when he's not drawn in the book. So I guess her imagination of him.
Well, imagination. It's how they're visualizing them.
What do you think about books re-releasing with like the cover of the movie?
I mean, I get it. It's PR for them. It's going to help them get book sales. A lot of people will watch the movie first and then read the book for more almost like the uncut version of the movie, right? Because you get so much more detail. So, I mean, I get it. I think it's also kind of interesting because some books that are older, like vintage, that have the movie or, the TV series, whatever might have been dedicated to the book, they sometimes are collectible, because sometimes it'll be a promotional deal and they will just do a certain amount during a certain time period and then that's it. So I don't know. I guess it's okay. It's all right.
I'll be like, ooh, Great Gatsby. Leo's in this book. I'm going to read it now.
Yeah. Right. You did a good job with that role, though, to be fair.
That's how I would look at it. All right. So back to the reading part. So since you don't know how much you read in a lifetime, Nancy says she stopped counting at 1,000. She thinks you're probably the same. What's the most you think you ever read it in a year? And what year do you think that was?
So I wish I had Goodreads a long time ago. I only discovered Goodreads probably about 4 years ago. Goodreads
what is Goodreads? Yeah.
Goodreads is an app, or you can do it on the desktop. You join, and it's like Facebook, but for books. So you have friends you can follow other authors, you can add books to your to be read, I want to read this book. You can add books to I'm currently reading, here's my progress. and then books that you've already read. And you can even like document what year you read that book.
Oh, wow.
And so what it does is it allows you to do a challenge. Like you can challenge yourself to read so many books in a calendar year. And so in the past, because I'm also doing college full time, I set my goal to like, I think one year I set it to like 50 and I got to 46.
Wow.
So I think once I'm done with college and I mean, with my business and stuff, and as my YouTube grows, who knows, but I like to think that I could, especially when you're factoring in audiobooks, I like to think that I could do 10 books.
Wait, audiobooks count?
Yeah, absolutely. Audiobooks, ebooks, paper books, those all count.
Okay.
All count. We're inclusive on Katey Reads. We're inclusive.
It's good to know. Now, what are these? You said 46 in a year? You said?
Yeah, that's the most that I've like actually tracked and had actual data for. Like years before that, I couldn't tell you. I love Goodreads.
Wow.
Yeah, so like
100 a year, Nancy.
that's awesome. A lot of people do 100 a year. Yeah, that would be like.
What about Drew?
Nancy Drew?
Oh.
Is that what he's talking about?
There you go. So the 40 that you read, were they like big? Were they like kids' books? Were they like Harry Potter books?
So I mean, they were. I don't really necessarily throw kids' books in there. There's a couple like YA and a couple. Well, there's a couple like books that I guess could be qualified as like YA, like which is young adult.
Young adult, yep. Mm-hmm.
Maybe like borderline kiddish, like teen read. Because like Ray Bradbury, Halloween Tree, I read that every year in the month of October, and that is kind of like a kiddish book, but it's just nostalgic. It's a really good book.
The comic books count.
Do what?
Comic books count.
Absolutely. Graphic novels, like yeah, absolutely. Reading is reading in my mind. That's what I tell my daughter. But yeah, I think the bulk of those books, as far as genre, it's definitely fiction. Like a bulk of those books is fiction. I'm trying to get into more of like self-help books, but I like to do those in audiobooks. So that way, like it's, I kind of believe like your mind, if you're continuously hearing things and the audio piece of it, I think it does a little bit more to your subconscious. So certain self-help books I like to hear in audio. But yeah, I would say most of it was fiction and obviously horror. Like, I don't know. I'm still trying to get through like all the Stephen King books. Like that's going to be a journey. That's going to be like a life journey for me.
Doesn't he still like write to this day, right?
Yeah, he still writes to this day.
It's going to be hard to catch up.
Last month, I just bought his recent book last month. So
you know what I realized recently? That one of my favorite movies, Shawshank, was actually a Stephen King book.
You didn't know that?
I had no clue.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Awesome.
I don't read, so that's as far as I go.
That's okay.
Okay. Now what about writing? How many books have you like published?
I have published 3 short stories. They're on Amazon. As far as writing, I mean, I loved writing even when I was little. I did like poems a lot and stuff like that, and little stories. I decided to like actually start putting my work out there around 2016 was when I wrote my first something, and I published it in 2018. And I just got a lot of positive feedback from a lot of different people. So I'm always like, I always have like 4 works in progress going at the same time, because sometimes I'll get bored of this story and want to move on to a different story, and then I get bored of that story and then I'll go back to the one I was working on before. So I have like 4 works in progress right now, but by next year I plan to have a anthology ready for hopefully by like Black Friday time next year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So do you just write when you're pretty much inspired to write, right?
Yeah, so I mean I'm constantly, that's the thing about being a writer, like you can get busy or you can get frustrated with it, but you're always going to come back to it. And that's just what I do. Like, it's so therapeutic for me when I'm in a good mood, when I'm in a bad mood, when I just need to just get some stuff off my chest. Like that's where writing is always my go-to for that kind of thing. I get inspired, like I get ideas all the time. Like it is just so random. Things will just happen. Like my one story, Steam Fog, like I was literally just kayaking one day, and I was like, this would be like, it was like this narrow area that we had to go through before we got to a bigger area. And I was like, this would be really creepy at night. And then I was like, this would actually be a really awesome story. Like, what if there was creepy stuff in the water? And then I just, that's how I got the story.
There you go. Now, did you win any awards for your writings yet?
I've done some contests. So that's another fun thing is there's a lot of like flash fiction, which is like stories under 1,000 words. You can enter contests. I usually only enter in contests that are free because I kind of feel like self-published authors already are paying so much just to put their work out there. I think it's crappy when publishers or companies try to charge you to submit your work. That's just my personal opinion. So I haven't entered a contest in a really long time, but 2 years ago, I won 3rd place in a scary story contest. So that was a lot of fun. So that one's actually going to make an appearance in my anthology that I launch next year.
Wow. Okay. Now, what if I told you that I won a contest for a writer? Would you believe me?
I would love to hear about it. Sure, I believe you. Sure.
I won a young authors contest when I was
nice.
What's up?
How old were you?
3rd grade.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I feel like they just gave it to me
1 year.
They just gave it to me probably because I was an immigrant, because I moved to the States right before I became in 3rd grade.
Oh, sympathy win? Is that what you think?
That's what I think it was, because I'm trying to go back and find a story. But from what I remember, it's pretty much me talking about Frosty the Snowman, even though I never watched Frosty the Snowman. It was a story about like a snowman that comes to life and plays with kids. I swear I never saw Frosty before I wrote that.
Nice. So. I remember 1 year, like in 1st or 2nd grade, I submitted a story to Reading Rainbow. I don't know if you remember that show.
Oh, yeah.
But I submitted it to Reading Rainbow, and they didn't do anything with it. And like my heart was broken. Like I drew pictures and everything. Like I gave them illustrations, you know. Like I gave them gold, and they left me hanging, and I was really mad about that. But I loved the show, so I kept watching the show. Obviously,
you probably just watched every single time, hoping yours. Did they tell you beforehand if yours goes on, or were you just watching every episode?
They like send you a letter, like unfortunately we didn't choose, but here's like some free stickers and merch, and thank you for entering, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I would actually go back because it's somewhere in my like back home somewhere in one toe, and I want to go back and find it. But over my bed, I have the plaque still, just to remind myself that I won something.
I sent in a story or a picture or something to the VeggieTales magazine, because I don't know if people know, but Phil, who created VeggieTales, lived in Onstead, Michigan. Like he was from my area. So I sent in a picture, and he sent back this really nice letter and put us in the magazine, and we got like free VHS tapes, and it was awesome. So I still have all of that from when I won. That was a lot of fun. About me killing Frosty.
Sounds like a good video, Nancy. You should probably post that. Drew, how much can you resell that blah 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 stuff for?
Drew is always getting down to business. So I mean, it depends on the blah blah blah.
That's actually a question I have in mind. Right here it says, what was it going to say? Best book you ever sold. There.
So still today is like the unicorn that I don't know I'll ever be able to get this experience again. I went to an estate sale, and there were tons of vintage books there. And there was a book from 1901 on mysticism, which obviously in that time was kind of probably taboo topic, I would imagine. So just the content really interested me. It still had a dust jacket. Like the dust jacket was beat up, but it's really hard to find old books. I mean, that's antiquarian, and it still had its dust jacket. So I looked it up on eBay, and sold comps were over $350, and they were without the dust jacket and in way worse condition. Like mine was, for being 1901, was in really good condition. Like someone took care of these vintage books at this estate sale, whoever had previously owned them. So I bought the book for $3. I figured worst case scenario, I'm going to get $300. So then I used to have a subscription for antiquarian book, like kind of conditioning and evaluating. But I ended up getting rid of it. I just couldn't justify the monthly cost. So I reached out to one of my other friends that kind of helps me out with antiquarian stuff every now and then. And he was able to give me a suggestion. He's like, I think you should list it for 800 and then take a best offer as long as it's not under 4. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I was freaking out. I was like, it was easily one of like my biggest sales. So I was like, I wonder if eBay will even let me do this. Like, I haven't made a sale this big.
That's insane. Yeah.
So I put it out there, and I listed it in June, and I got tons of offers: $200, $300, $350, $215. Like, everybody was trying to lowball me, and I'm like, I know what I have here, and you guys know what I have here. That's why you're giving me all these lowball offers. So I kept waiting, and then it finally sold in October. I took a best offer of $500, and it was shipped to someone in France.
Wow. For $3.
Yes, $3. I turned $3 into 500 with one book.
Man, guys, don't be passing out books, man.
I feel like that's my unicorn. Like, I feel like I won't ever be able to top that, but it's also at the same time, like, you never know. You never know with antiquarian books. Any books on the occult type stuff. Yeah, so that sells really, really well. And that's like one nonfiction and like occult type, religious, like all of that are like my go-to with vintage books. I would say that, and the books like that are old school textbooks, like elementary textbooks. Those are ones that I usually always grab too, that are vintage or antiquarian. So I'm slowly dabbling into this. Because I just don't know how to like slow down, I guess. As soon as I'm done with college, I want to get certified in antiquarian if I can. I'm doing some research into that, seeing what I need to do to get that done, because I'm really, really interested in that. I'd love to be able to appraise books and get into that world a little bit. So
it sounds like fun, for sure. Not for me, but hey. So how many listings do you have like on eBay now, and what percentage of them are actually books?
So I'm probably almost to 300 listings on eBay. And as far as books, I would say 80% is books.
Pretty good. It's majority, I would say.
Yeah, and then a lot of media, and then you've got like, I've got some sprinkled like random sporadic toys and clothing. I got away from health and beauty. It was just hard for me. Like, I feel like that's just a volume game. You have to have tons of it, because health and beauty is always like, seems to be low price and free shipping. So I feel like you just have to have tons of that. But yeah, and I mean, because my inventory source is free book pickups, that's, you know, anything that
you can't be free, right? Pretty good ROI on free.
You can't. You can't. And I like to keep books out of landfills. Like, there is some environmental piece to that too. Like, I hate to see a good book just be thrown into the trash for no reason. So
all right, so we're at that halfway point. This is why we usually try to bring up the people's gram. So I picked up 2 pictures out of your gram.
Oh God.
You had it was a hard choice. I don't know if you have a personal gram or something, because you don't have that many pictures besides books in yours. So I have to really dig to find something.
Yeah.
But, this is the first one. So it's not that really picture. The caption says, "How I feel when I kill a character in my story."
Yep.
How many characters have you killed in your stories?
A character always dies in my story. There's always one character that dies. I mean, spoiler alert. Like, those are my stories. That's how it works.
Wow.
Yeah.
Way to ruin it.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Someone always dies in case.
Yeah, there we go. I saw a comment earlier that your books are available on Amazon. Is that true?
They are, yeah. I have a link tree on Instagram, so like literally everything as far as what I have available is out there. It's actually like my whole author page, so you can just click on it. It'll take you to my author page on Amazon, and it'll show you everything that I have that you can buy if you want.
There you go. So if you buy it, just know that the person you probably care about is going to be dead.
I didn't say that. It could be the person or that person.
Yeah.
Never know.
All right, now this one right here intrigued me. What can you tell me about this?
Ooh, yeah. So my hometown is very well known for the Stacy chair. And this is a judge that lived in my hometown. And I mean, probably in his time, probably one of the most wealthiest people too. And there was like a lot of talk about his daughter because one of his daughters never got married, and she was kind of just like didn't really get into the social scene. So a bunch of rumors kind of came up about her like being a witch and stuff like that. But in reality, it wasn't, you know, she
she wasn't a witch, you're saying?
No, I think she was done. She was, yeah. I don't think that was truly something that she was. So, anyways, his wife decided to do a chair for his tombstone because he was a judge, and all through growing up, all through high school, everybody dares everybody. You got to sit in Stacy's chair, and if you sit in Stacy's chair, you're gonna die. So it's like this urban legend myth thing. I'm not gonna lie, I probably got drunk a couple of different times in high school and showed up at this cemetery. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching, and sat in that chair.
Oh wow.
And I'm still kicking for now. So but yeah, there's just a lot of mystery, a lot of folklore, and a lot of urban legend around that chair, and it's in my local cemetery. So it's really cool. I mean, you can Google it and find out a lot of different information. Like, people go wild over this, and it's just like, man, it's not. Do
they think it's like haunted or something, or what?
Mystical, you know? And it's like, no, he was just a judge, and that's what his wife wanted to do, you know, to honor his seat as a judge. So.
Did Tay sit on the chair yet? Or?
No, I have not shown Tay the cemetery or the chair yet. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Thank you for talking about those more. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Johnny had a question.
Everything's going crazy in the chat.
Yeah, it says, okay, is there one book you have been looking for, the grail of books? What is the best to look out for book to flip? I guess probably like antiquarian books. Like, what would you be?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple antiquarian books that I'd love to find. Really, any like signed first editions that I happen to come across for Stephen King or other authors like that would be awesome. Like, I have a few of his first editions that I could easily sell right now today for $120 if I wanted to. But I mean, they're my own personal collection. So I would say, yeah, stuff like that, stuff that's signed, and, first editions, first printings, that kind of thing. I don't necessarily have like this list that I'm constantly looking for, but I'm also constantly learning about books, The Joy of Cooking. That's a book that's a really, really big, old school book. We need to talk.
She might have something in your holy grail. She might have it. This is Donna, by the way. Donna found me from Nurse Flipper's chat.
Okay.
And I FaceTimed her yesterday because she has the holy grail of Pokemon cards, and she said she has a bunch of other stuff in her collection, so she might have something you're looking for. There you go.
Yeah, let's talk.
Donna, Katie's on Instagram. You can definitely reach out to her there.
So yeah, I would say I don't specifically have like just one book that I'm out there looking for. I'm always looking for.
This is what she has right here.
Characteristics, numerous signed Stephen King books. You grew up in Maine? That's crazy. We will have to talk.
There's a conversation right there.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
See, I told you to come today, Don. I told you you would like it. What's been the best book you have sold based on the illustrator? Mine was Frank Schumer.
So Ed Emberley books, like the books written by Ed Emberley. I don't know I can't remember who the illustrator was off the top of my head, but I had the 1960s version with illustrations, and I sold 6 of them for $75. I feel like I could have gotten more, but they were ex-library. They were super like beat up. Yeah, I think that's the only one, because I know it was related to the illustrator, because the person messaged me and wanted to see all the, not all of them, but they wanted to see some of the pictures, and they wanted me to verify who the illustrator was. So that's the only reason that comes to mind. I'm sure I may have made other sales that related to the illustrator, and I just had no idea. But that is one thing to look out for. I mean, some people are looking not just for the author, they're looking for the illustrator, they're looking for certain publishers. There's a lot of different reasons people want to grab books.
Donna says our family summer house was across the lake from his.
Wow, that's awesome.
Donna, you got to share that on your YouTube for sure. That's probably cool stories.
Yeah.
So, like, what percentage you would say of the books that you buy actually keep for yourself? This is a no good question.
You're putting me on the spot. Okay, no, to be honest, like I do find here and there for myself, I'd say maybe like 2 to 3%, because I've only been reselling used books for the past 2 years. I've been reading and collecting and growing my bookshelf for the past 20 years. So I have a lot of what, I used to be a used bookstore thrifter person when I was growing my collection and stuff like that. So as I come across things, I will keep for my collection, especially if it's like really beat up, because I kind of like beat up old books. And sometimes those are hard to sell. So I'll justify it that way. I'm like, oh, I got to keep this. I got to save it. It's got to stay here now. It's got to stay here. But I would say realistically 2 to 3%, because I mean, my goal is to make money. I can't hang on to everything I find that's awesome.
Yeah.
Just depends how awesome it is. There's like a 1 to 5 scale. If it's like in the 4 to 5 range, might have to keep it.
Understood. Barbara says she Zoomed with Richard Shizmar.
Wow, that's cool.
I don't know what that is, but
Stephen King's best friend. I don't know Stephen King's best friends, but I'll take your word for it. That's awesome.
Barbara wouldn't lie to us, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, does your daughter have the same kind of passion for books as you, or writing as you, or both?
I would say it's so funny. Yeah, she does like writing. She writes like a lot of little stories. There's papers all over this house and a binder, and she even started typing up some of her stories. I mean, nice. She gets to like 1 page, and I mean, she's 11. So like, she'll do a couple pages, and then she'll be like, look, I wrote a whole story. It's like, okay.
Hey,
got it.
You can write a whole story, 2 pages.
But she does like writing. As far as reading, it kind of depends. Her favorite are like the graphic novels and comic books. Graphic novels are, probably a lot more popular now than they were when I was little. And I feel like a lot more books, like Captain Underpants is a great example, of it, and Dog Man and all of that. So yeah, she and someone who was part of the Babysitters Club series also created a series of graphic novels, and my daughter loves that series too, like Smile and Spirit and a bunch of other ones. So I think she does. I don't know that she's super. I think she's, if I had to say something she's super, super into, it would be gaming. She does get that from me because I used to be a really big gamer, and I love video games. I mean, I still do. I just don't have the time for it. I'm not as passionate as I was. But she does really, really like gaming. And then I would say second to that is probably reading.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What kind of a kid?
She's a kid, these kids and their electronics.
Kids these days. Go play outside.
Yeah, go play outside.
So Barbara says that he wrote the Gwendy series. I hope that means something to you, because I don't know what that is.
It doesn't, but I'm going to want to Google it after this live is over.
And then Janice says she got lots of beat up old books. Hit her up on Instagram.
Okay.
I don't know if you know Janet's story that she acquired an estate from her mom, who used to be a collector / a hoarder. And she has a whole house full of like awesome vintage stuff. So she probably got a lot of books for you, for sure.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think I was Fortnite, baby.
Izzy loves Fortnite, Animal Crossing. I recently got her into Left 4 Dead because that used to be like one of my favorite zombie games for like besides Resident Evil. She's not quite ready for Resident Evil yet because a lot of Resident Evil is third-person shooter and that's annoying. But Left 4 Dead is first-person shooter and
Very annoying. I'm glad you said that. Third-person shooters should not ever
Yes, I
ever
absolutely
existed.
I think it was
Yes.
Resident Evil 4 where like 80% of the game is like this third-person shoot. It was I hate that. I hate
Yes.
that.
I'm glad you said that because that's my point exactly.
It's true. Absolutely hate it.
Best way to date an old book with no copyright info.
It should have something. It should have something under the publisher name.
She said no copyright info.
So it should have a date somewhere. It does, at least under the publisher name. If it doesn't, I don't know. I've never come across where there's literally no date at all, no publisher name at all.
Right. You can't tell by the pages. You can't tell how old the book is based.
Oh yeah, if you hold it up to the light and the page hits a certain granular.
There you go. This is the info I want to hear. like some National Treasure stuff, like you put like some lemon juice on it, and then you do that.
Oh,
and then
the Declaration of Independence. Right.
All right, so let's go more into reselling again. You said you went to some stuff today, some estate sales. Did you find anything good to share with the class?
I did find something really awesome. So I was looking through their books. So the estate sale that we went to today, it just had tons of vintage toys and like just knickknacks and cultural stuff, and just it was crazy. It was like these two sales were just crazy. But this book I found, and this one book covered my cost at this estate sale.
Really?
Yes.
Elvis paperback book?
I almost passed it up, but I grabbed it because it was right next to this one, and this one's selling for like 15 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I grabbed it because it was right next to this one, and I was like, oh, I'll look this one up too. So I opened it up and found the ISBN number and looked it up, and this one is selling for $34 consistently on eBay.
Wow. Well, here's a baller for you guys. Now, do you know why, or is it just?
I have no clue why. I'm gonna try and find out why. I think this one is like, so it says what 3 of his closest companions tell a shocking, bizarre story. So it's like his friends talking about him. So I don't know.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
I don't know. And there's pictures inside. Like, I feel like these pictures aren't super intimate. Like, I feel like anybody could find these pictures, but
yeah.
So I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know, but
now I'm wondering if all Elvis books sell now. Since you said that one sells, I wonder if just like any Elvis paperback sells.
I haven't sold a whole lot of Elvis books. I don't. In my area, I just don't come across certain things. You know what I mean?
The shade always sells. Very true.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what's going on in the book.
That's what's going on, man. Remember the guy who wrote about Tiger Woods, like the guy who carries his bags? I forgot what they're called. Those people. He wrote a book about Tiger, all his secrets, and remember that book was super hot because it was about a lot of shit about what Tiger actually was. Talked about like how he tips bad, and like how he has anger issues.
Yeah,
I forgot what that was, but that shade sold too. So there you go.
I just thought of a book actually, Johnny, that I am always on the lookout for.
Ooh.
Because you cannot find it anywhere, and if you do find it, it's like you're talking big money, and that's that one book by Madonna. I think it was called like Sex or something like that. Especially if you find it in a different language. Like, I feel like the Japanese ones sell for like big money. But look up the Madonna book on eBay, and you'll be surprised because it's just. I think like she only did like so many. Like she only produced like 100 of them, or like I feel like it was only so many. But that is one book that I am always on the lookout for. Is that Madonna book?
Now, if you were to find it, we're gonna sell it. You're gonna keep it.
I would definitely sell it. If I was a big Madonna fan,
Wait, really, Roy?
Have you?
What's-
How much did you sell it for? Because I'm always looking for that one because
There you go.
everybody talks about that.
The
Yeah,
coffee
the coffee
table
table
book?
book. Yep.
Oh, okay. Larry goes, have you ever heard of Back from Burnout? Big bookseller.
Yeah, she's in Australia, right? She's in another country. Yeah, I've heard a lot about her. A lot of people have like sent me her content and stuff and asked if I knew her. I don't like know her personally. I think we like follow each other on Instagram. Her business model is interesting, especially because she's in a different country. So I feel like she may have access to new books that maybe we wouldn't have around here. So I definitely, her stuff's
That makes
definitely
sense.
interesting. Yeah. Mine wasn't great shape, but like 80. Oh, yeah. So I mean, with books, condition matters a lot, but I've seen some, especially in other languages, sell for like thousands.
Interesting. So her book was bad. People were burning it. That's why it's
Amazon's book was banned. Oh yeah. Yeah. So, okay. That's why then. Yeah. I'm always looking for that one.
interesting.
One of Larry's crushes.
Larry
Oh.
has plenty.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Good to know, Larry. Good to know.
So let's say like someone like me who has no clue anything about books. I go to a yard sale and there's a lady who has like tons of books on the table. I don't have time to scan all of them or do whatever. Is there anything on the cover or the back jacket that I should be on the lookout for that can say this is a potential something that I should be scanning or something I should look up? Any kind of like tips to help me with that kind of stuff?
When it comes to like certain adult books, I mean, honestly,
Or maybe like any authors
eBay
like,
app and scan the ISBN code. The barcode. It takes 2 seconds to scan it on the eBay app. That's what I would say to that. However, as far as like, because children's chapter books sell really well for me, so like just the classics of like Babysitter's Club, Boxcar Children, Goosebumps, R.L. Stine. Like if you get a good set of those, if you can get a bunch of Harlequin or Westerns in a really big bulk, and you can get them cheap, like I'm talking like $5 for a big bunch of them, you could definitely flip those. Facebook Marketplace or eBay, you could definitely flip those. Media Mail is cheap. I mean,
books sell on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah.
Pretty consistent?
Yeah. Greg, okay. I haven't dabbled in it myself, but I'm in quite a few book selling groups, and I've had some conversations with people like Greg and a few others, and that's, I mean, I think I'm going to eventually have to get on this Facebook Marketplace train because Emily talks about it. Like a lot of people talk about it.
It took me a while to get on it, and I'm glad I did.
I have a friend that has a bulk book business. Amazon is his primary, eBay is his secondary, and Facebook Marketplace is the third place that he will list things. I think he cross lists honestly between Facebook and eBay, and he's a very big bookseller. He's got like 20K plus, in inventory on Amazon right now. So he's using those two platforms quite a bit, and Facebook Marketplace, he said it's going really, really well. I'm just not sure. I just want to know more about the seller protection for Facebook Marketplace, and a lot of people haven't been able to answer that question.
Right now, it seems like it's 100% seller protection.
Okay.
From what I experienced, that like once they buy it, the customer cannot do a return, which I think is crazy and terrible for the customer. But I'm sure it's going to change in the future. But
I'm sure it'll adjust over time. Yeah, like, and that's another thing.
Fabio, look out for Fabio, guys.
Like, if you have a certain person that's on the cover, like, definitely don't just grab a book without doing comps. That's another thing. Like, I feel like a lot of people just want to be able to just grab and buy, thinking they're going to make good money, and that's not really how it works. It's not like shoes or some of the hard goods. Like, you definitely still need to look up comps, because either, who knows, books are such a fluid thing. Someone could have died and it could be worth a tons of money now, or someone could have died and it's still only worth $5. And the market defines what the value is. So I would just always encourage people to still be looking up comps. Like, unfortunately, I don't know. I would never just grab and buy personally.
Now, do you think that a book that was valuable like 2 years ago could have zero value now, or do books not fluctuate in value?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I would say it falls under more of like the category of like what you can see with like certain toys or certain memorabilia or collectibles. Books can either like super decrease in value because I mean, think about it, like a chemistry textbook from 1984.
Useless.
Nobody wants that. Nobody cares unless they're a collector and they're collecting all the textbooks McGraw-Hill ever published on chemistry. And that person is likely only going to pay like $15 for it in that case.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to spend a bunch of money. You know, that's not really going to be worth anything to anyone. However, a signed book from an author, and now that author has passed away and that book is in great condition and it's been 20, 25 years now, and it's like a fiction book, or like Dean Koontz was going like crazy. One of his titles was going like crazy because it talked about this crazy virus strain or something, and had a certain year or country or something in it. And last year it was like selling like hotcakes for stupid prices. Dr. Seuss is another example. I mean, the whole cancellation of certain, you know, no longer producing books. Yeah. It's always going to be a fluid thing. Always.
Interesting. Dave's asking, what do you think about selling Bibles?
I do sell Bibles. Yep. I see it as anything else. I'd sell a Quran. I'd sell, you know, I've sold Buddhist books. I mean, I am pretty inclusive as far as like what I'll sell. I know some people think it's wrong to sell Bibles, and, you know, it takes away from maybe someone wanting to have a free Bible. But to that, I would say,
there's plenty.
Direct that person to their Salvation Army, and they will get a free Bible. Direct
there's
that
plenty
person to any church, and they will get a free Bible. It's, you know. Yeah. I see it as I am giving a book a chance in a different home or to a collector or whatever the case may be. It's not going in the trash. That's what I would rather see. And yeah, I mean, I could donate it, but like I sold a super old Bible from 1868. That was a family Bible, like one of those huge family Bibles. And it had like a photo album spot inside of it, because like back then, like they weren't mass produced. Like you had a family Bible, like you shared a Bible in your house. And so the cover was falling off and it was just all messed up. So I listed it on eBay for $40. It sold within a couple of weeks, and the person sent me a message after they got it, and they were like, it came to me in great condition. Thank you so much. I'm going to restore it. I'm going to give it to my dad as a gift. Like, thank you. So like, that's another thing. I just kind of feel like, you know, I don't know. I don't have anything bad against it.
Johnny says he found one today from 1887. That's awesome.
Yep. Bibles are one of my favorite things to sell, for sure. Religious items, period.
She is today. She's dropping that knowledge. So here's a question thing everybody in the chat wants to know. What genre of book smells best?
Oh man. So I can. What's sick is I can answer that question. Hear me out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. Go ahead.
Sniffing old vintage antiquarian books. You're like, it smells like caca, okay? Like it's moldy, and it just, you know, it's got that dust, you know, mothball smell. Like what I'm sure my friend Topher thinks my whole house smells like. But when you go to Barnes & Noble and pick up a brand new book from an author that just came out, and you get that new book smell, like that brand new, like, you know how when we used to buy CDs and we'd open up the case and it just had like that smell?
I've never smelled my CDs.
So anyway, that's what it's like.
If anybody in the chat smells CDs, leave a 1, okay? I just want to know.
Please agree with me so I don't sound like a psycho, please.
So pretty much the new book smell is the best smell. Doesn't matter what genre it is. Yeah.
Is the best smell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I had to ask. I was just always wondering.
Thank you, Louie. I don't know that I'm the smartest bookkeeper out there, but
Dante's eating his popcorn. So also in like your dream home, right? You have a dream home.
Mm-hmm.
How many rooms are dedicated to books, and how many bookcases are in those rooms?
Ideally, a really big room. I don't know how many square feet, but like I'd like it to be my office too. But like I would like the 2-tiered bookcases, and then you can walk up to the second tier, like kind of.
Oh, like one of those ladders kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a picture right now. Do you ever travel to Colombia by any chance?
Haven't done that one yet, but I heard you have.
Yeah, there's one of my favorite coffee shops in Colombia is actually a library, and it probably illustrates what you're thinking. But I'll find it when you answer another question from somebody, because otherwise just be searching for these things. So
the old book smell is my favorite. Yes, girl. Yes,
there you
girl.
go. Mold, cigarette smoke, puke.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think is the best source to find these like old antiquarian books?
For me, it's been estate sales. I'd like to say free book pickups, but that hasn't really been the case for me. The free book pickups haven't been a ton of like vintage and antiquarian. So for me, it's estate sales. I mean, if you download the app estatesales.net, you can literally see all the estate sales in your area.
I didn't know about that
on it. You can see, like, do they take cash or card? What are their hours? What are their COVID precautions, like all that stuff. And then they typically post pictures of what they'll have. So you can see if they have books there, what kind. Like, sometimes you can tell what kind. Sometimes they literally just like take a picture of the bookshelf and you're like on your own. But you can also figure out by reading the house, and by that I mean like looking at all the pictures. Like if it's a nice house and they have tons of cultural stuff and really nice antiques and all of that kind of thing, and you see a bookshelf and it looks like there's some old books there, then there's maybe going to be some gems, and I would take the time to go out there. That's what we did today. Like I did the research for these 2 sales beforehand. We went out there and, did really good at both places. So
now, how far would you like travel if it was
so you can actually put it into the app. The farthest that I go is like Northern Ohio area. And then I usually don't go much farther than like I do it in like increments of time, because that's what matters most to me is my time when I'm doing the sourcing. So for me, I probably wouldn't drive farther than like 2 hours. But if I drove that far, I would need to know that it's like slam dunk. I am for sure going to get something.
I found it.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
That is heaven. That is so beautiful.
Right? Yeah, it's in a downtown Cartagena, which is like a very popular tourist location, and it's a coffee shop, and there's just books everywhere.
Wow, that is gorgeous. So, like, could you just walk in and just grab one and read it if you wanted to?
Yes. You're allowed to. You don't have to purchase it. You're allowed to read. You can do whatever you want with them. Yep. You just have to put them back. And
that's so awesome. And like one day I really do want to have a brick and mortar in my area, because we have no more used bookstores anymore in my area. Unfortunately, last year the virus kind of killed the last used bookstore that we had in my area, and I'd love to have one and have like an actual coffee shop in there, promote indie authors. Indie authors are people that are self-published or don't have a publishing contract. I'd love to have that in my area one day.
So a couple more questions before I'll let you go. Talk about ephemera.
Oh, of esoteric books.
Yeah, I wasn't going to try to pronounce that word.
Portfolio or prints, and as Katey had success with the subject matter as a reseller, and the most expensive book sold. So Louis,
we talked about the expensive book. You should have been here earlier.
Yeah, the $500 book. What Louie's talking about is like pamphlet type things, like stuff that people really pass over that actually is pretty decent money. I don't get into it a whole lot because I don't see it a whole lot at my estate sales. Some I do. But Louis I think Louis, you have a whole video about that, right? Talking about it.
That's probably what he asked. He tried to get the promotion, tried to get the shout out.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Look at him go correct.
Yeah, on it, and it's like, it's something that you could easily pass up, but some of those are worth like some really big money, and some of it is like, it just depends. It depends on the content, and I think even like the paper sometimes, or like the type of printing that was done on it, and it's just crazy. And sometimes you find that stuff like inside a book. Like sometimes it'll already be inside a book that you find. I've never found money inside a book, but a lot of the bulk booksellers that do Amazon and have warehouses and stuff, and they buy books by the Gaylord, they've gone through books and they've found, cash. I think the only person I've seen that's gotten more than I think one person had a couple $100 inside of a book or something like that. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at 7:01. Thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for coming, Katie. I had a great time.
Yeah,
the hour flew by. Maybe I should make this longer in the future. But no. You want to plug anything? Any videos coming up? Anything you're doing?
So video hopefully dropping soon on a older thrift trip that I did. Next week on Wednesday, the 28th from 9 to 10, I'll be on Flip Finds Funds show. And I just dropped a new design for my merch. My sister created it for me. It's really cool. It's a little spooky and I love it. So yeah, that's all I got. Thank you for having me on your show, Paul. I appreciate it so much.
Wow, that was great. And then for me, guys, Johnny, if you can drop your link tree so people are aware. I am every Monday to Friday. Me and Johnny have a morning show. Make sure you guys definitely go sub to Johnny as well and give him some love. It's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Johnny's channel. Whoa, that wire just flew like crazy. And then Tuesday and Thursdays on my channel. Make sure you guys follow Johnny, and then my stuff just comes whatever. But next week, guys, live at 5, I have American Arbitrage. You guys probably don't know who he is, but he has like a 4,000 subscriber YouTube channel, and his TikTok has like 500,000 subscribers on TikTok.
Wow.
So he's like a big YouTuber people have no clue about. So excited to have him on. His name is Gary. He's from like Utah. Has his own like retail store. And then my smaller guest is this guy right here, Lone Star Picker. So make sure you guys check out that next week. I'm excited about that. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for coming. Tonight, I'm going to be on Louis' channel at 10 p.m. I'm going to be showing all the vintage teas that I found.
Oh, nice.
Here's a little preview right here. Check out this vintage Harley.
Nice. Look at you. You did pull out the Harley.
I told you I would if you're going to bring out the good book. So make sure you guys check out Louis' channel. I know Jen dropped that link for sure. Right there.
And you, Sunday, tomorrow at 2.
I gave you a chance.
I forgot this. No, one more thing. Tomorrow, me and Tay, that's going to be our first show.
Kind of important.
Oh my God. I just so bad. Yes.
I was like, are you sure you have nothing?
No, yes. Tomorrow at 2, we're going to start going live on Sundays at 2. So that'll be fun.
Yep. Prison to Profit every Sunday at 2.
Thank you, guys, for having that.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining. See you guys in the next one. Later.